Here's the dean now. A couple of times at some National Association of University and College, what was that, NACUA meetings in a prior life, and so it's good to see him again. Anyway, I'll let the dean say a few words before, and he can introduce Dr. Humphries, who will tell about his days with Mr. Holifield, and then we can start talking about what it took to get the school reestablished. Dean,
okay.
You're just in time.
I don't know.
You didn't go through anything difficult in the last hour, so you could do
No, that's right. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Apologize for running behind here, but we had a bit of a main campus conference. Let me say first of all, and I've told this to Bishop before about how pleased we are that he could be here, and I think it does become very important for us not to forget the legends that put us where we are today, and I say that about both Bishop Holifield and Dr. Humphries. I think I'd have to, in all fairness, include and to restate the importance of the ongoing contributions here. And I think that one of the reasons why it's so important to recognize the contributions of both of you is that it's not just a matter of looking back at history. It's an issue of defining the work that's still to be done. The College of Law is a beautiful work that's in progress, because anything living is in progress, and we are very much alive in that respect. One of the things I would say to not only our guests, but to everybody that's here, that we have to always constantly remember you have a mission and a purpose in life, in anything you do, and the importance of remaining focused on that mission and purpose, if that mission and purpose is worthy, defines you as leaders and as contributors. It's not hard to spend a lot of time dealing with and fighting with detractors and naysayers. And some of that you have to do. But the challenge for all of us is to remember why we're here and what we're about. Perseverance, dedication. Dr. Humphries, Bishop Holifield, you've exemplified that character in everything you've done. And I think we all can learn and live by that. I'm very proud to be here. I'm very proud to know both of these gentlemen. I have my personal knowledge, Bishop knows, and proud to know his family too. So. And it's a strange coincidence that brings all that together. But people look at this month sometimes as months of remembrance, and that's good. I don't like months of remembrance that are just that, but it's too easy to pack that away. I like months, weeks, days of commitment, recommitment, and I don't know details of what either of these individuals are going to tell us today, but I suspect that what it will be about is about the importance of that recommitment and that focus. And so whatever it is we do, whatever it is to say, where we go from here, in this month and the other month, I think we need to bear that in mind. I guess it's my job to introduce, if my marching orders that I got, how many seconds ago was that? Is in order to introduce Dr. Humphries, who introduced Bishop Holifield, but, you know, trying to introduce somebody like Dr. Humphries, you're faced with the challenge of saying too little and too much. Too little, in some ways, may not recognize the tremendous across the board and the depth of his contribution. Too much takes away from the obvious nature and quality of what he's done. You know, someone once said, I can't remember who it was, that you can measure a person's greatness by how short their introduction is, an inverse relationship. So we kind of, you can declare this one as very short, because the quality is very large. So with that, I'm just going to say, Dr. Humphries.
Well, thank you, Dean. I am very pleased to be reunited with Bishop for this task to talk about the FAMU College of Law. And all of you should know that this college is the fruits of a monumental act in the history of higher education in the United States of America. There is not one example of something that was taken away from a historical black college and university where it was retrieved. There's no example but this example, the FAMU College of Law. And when I have talked to the interim students who come here, I've always made that point with them, that the FAMU College of Law in Orlando is a very special college. And there ought to be some air associated with that in terms of how you think about working here and the commitment that you give to doing it, because it's monumental. It's like in Mississippi, they said they recognized that slaves were free 2 weeks ago, right? All these years, they've never recognized that we were free. But 2 weeks ago, Mississippi finally said that black people were free in America and free in the South. They were the only state holding out from doing this. I came to FAMU. I mean, I was a student at FAMU, but I came back after I got my doctorate in physical chemistry. I came back to teach, and one of my first students that I taught at FAMU was Bishop. And Bishop enjoyed a reputation at FAMU. He was a straight A student. He was well respected on the campus. And I taught him physical sciences. And he sat down front, first row seat. And I finally asked somebody, who is that guy that sits down front? They said, that's Bishop Holifield, don't you know? Hey, Bishop Holifield. He's a star student. He's straight A's at Florida A&M. And then, like very much the outstanding students from Florida A&M, like Bishop, summa cum laude graduate of the university, he did a spectacular thing after he finished. He applied and was admitted to Harvard's law school. And that's the case now with everybody who's kind of a superstar from Florida A&M. They get really some outstanding opportunities after they leave FAMU. In my class, we had a guy named, he was from St. Petersburg. He was a chemistry major. And the guy was a genius. And he took 38 hours in his senior year. He made straight A's, and he was a guy who would go to sleep and wake up and answer your question. But he went to Caltech to get his PhD in chemistry. And that was the future of outstanding students like Bishop from Florida A&M. Well, I reunited with Bishop. He was the general counsel when I came back to Florida. And Bishop was working as the general counsel for the office of the president, and I didn't fire him, so that when I took over,
Great decision.
I told him I would keep him, that I'd be very pleased to work with him as general counsel, and we proceeded from there. One of the things I did, which I learned at Tennessee State, was that you have to always ask for what you want. And two things happen to you when you ask. My first budget to the State Board of Regents was one that was humongous, asking for what FAMU needed to get better. And I presented my budget to the Board of Regents, and everybody on the board turned red. And they were, we had a regent from Tallahassee, Doobie Osley, who, after I made my presentation, came up to me and said that you have embarrassed us. That's a ridiculous budget that you put in, and no way does it have any possibilities of receiving any positive affirmation. And so in my very first presentation of the budget, I got jumped on about being too extensive in my requests. But so that's one reaction when you ask for all the things that you want. The second reaction is when you don't ask, and then your constituent group goes to those people and they say, the reason why we're not doing this because the president didn't ask for it. So I always operated on the principle of, I'm going to ask for it and you can fuss at me, but I'm going to ask for it in the regard to it, and you'll never be able to say that we didn't request it. So one of the items I always asked for was the College of Law, that we get our College of Law back from the beginning. I put that on our request for academic programs.